Namaste, everybody. Hope you're all doing good. I send my love and my light and divine blessings to all of you. So this is part one in what is no doubt going to be a multi-part series of explaining how and why ye are gods. The title of this is going to be at least 2 or 3 parts by the feel of it. If I do this in 15-minute segments, it's going to take a bit of unpacking, but we're going to do this together, and we're going to do this with as much clarity as is possible. This is part 1, or video 1, in the series called Ye Are Gods. Okay, many ascended masters and great teachers, sages and gurus have said, you are God. Our latest and greatest Ascended Master, the most recent Ascended Master to say this, amongst many, is Yeshua HaMashiach, the one known by the Christians as Jesus Christ. Although that was not his name. Yeshua HaMashiach was his true name, and he was a real teacher and a real Ascended Master of the 5th density. This was an extremely pure soul that came through and remembered its mission, the entity known as Yeshua, and remembered its mission from a very young age. It set itself a very powerful catalyst so that it would remember who it was and what its purpose was in this particular lifetime, and pulled it off like an absolute genius of a wanderer. Jesus said, or Yeshua said, ye are gods. Have I not said you are gods? Now the Christians will take this out of context and say, yes, no, but he just meant to shut the people up because they were about to stone him. No. He meant this literally, just as Yahweh in the Old Testament said, you are all gods. You are all sons and daughters of the living God, and you are gods. Okay, what do these great sages and great masters mean, and these great creative principle aspects of the source when they say you are gods? How can you be God and human at the same time? Okay, we're going to unpack this paradox. God became man, human kind, man and women. God became human to experience its own creation firsthand. There's nothing like experiencing your own creation firsthand as an aspect of that creation. There's something really intimate about that, about exploring your own creation. So how did all of this start? When were you God, and when did you become human? Okay, when did you become a man or a woman, masculine, feminine, divine masculine, divine feminine, incarnate in physical form? And when were you God? Well, here's the paradox. Both are true at the same time, simultaneously. So you are a multidimensional being. You are the most undistorted aspect of the source in the 12th density, the Godhead, as people would call it, the Godhead. I'm using the 12th density consciousness system here, by the way. I could use the 9 density system or the 8 density system, but I'm going to use the 12 density system to explain this, because it just gives me a slightly broader way of explaining this. Okay, so the way that it goes is this. You are simultaneously, don't forget the time, linear time as we know it, and linear progression as we know it just does not exist. It's a part of the space-time illusion. Okay, so there is only simultaneous time. Now this is going to probably bend your mind into a banana, but you are a multidimensional being. So you are simultaneously a human being right now, and there is another part of you, another aspect of you that is your primary soul aspect on the 7th density, using the 12 density system of consciousness. There is another aspect of you simultaneously that is also existing in the 3rd density, here now, late 3rd density, moving into 4th density, in the 3D realm on Earth as part of the creation. But there is also another aspect of you that is in the universal God Self 11th density, which is watching all of this from a universe creator's point of view, which many of us would look at as God. But in essence, we are all an aspect of God, just in different densities, simultaneously spread out, like the like the tentacles on a jellyfish. Okay, so you've got the Godhead, which is the body of the jellyfish. You've got the millions and trillions, in this case, trillions of tentacles coming off in every direction, and they've spread out all over the sea bed. Okay, let's say this is a huge jellyfish, and the head takes up the whole of the surface of the sea, and the tentacles come out, the trillions and trillions of tentacles, and every single tentacle has no idea that the tentacle next to it that it keeps bumping into, you know, Fred down the road, or Jane, or whoever that may be, and you keep bumping into this other aspect who you just think is another random individual within the creation. Really, if you followed those tentacles back, all of them, you would get back to the same one body of the jellyfish, the same one body of God. And then you would realize that all those separate, individualized beings, the entities that you kept bumping into through all of your lifetimes, through all of your incarnations, were ultimately all the same one body of God, body of the source, just projected out into many different facets, many different densities, many different dimensions, and in these individualized portions of consciousness, just experiencing different aspects of the creation that it made. Okay, so that's the best way of giving you like an overview. So, or you could look at the sea urchin. I mean, it's the same thing. The head of the sea urchin, the Godhead, right? And then the spines that come off the sea urchin, the tentacles that come off. You know, there's each individual filament is a filament of consciousness, is a filament of individualized conscious units projected out. And then each one that projects out into 12 more. I'll explain this in the next video. And then each one of those projects out into 12 more. So you could look at this as soul divisions, but really nothing ever divides, because there is no division. Is the illusion. Separation is the illusion. That's part of the illusion construct of this universe. The only truth is that of unity, that of the law of one. So really, we're going to be talking about not division, not soul divisions, but soul projections, projecting out. So 12 project out, and then each one of those single elements of that 12 then project out into another 12, and then each one of those project out into another 12 each, and then each one of those projects out into another 12 each, and this comes all the way down until we get to the 3rd density, where we are now, the 3D realm, where there's been many projections, many soul, some people will call them soul divisions, I call them soul projections or soul expansion. So you're densifying and densifying and densifying, projecting out and densifying, projecting out and densifying, until you get to the very dense physical 3D form that we're in now, which is very limited as compared to your universal God self or the Godhead. This, like I said, this is going to take a bit of unpacking, but please stay with me. Please stick with me through this. I'm going to explain this in the most clear way possible. and I'm absolutely sure that every single one of you are going to get this. By the time this possibly 3, maybe 4 part series is done and out of the way, I'm absolutely certain that you are all going to have a pretty firm handle on this, on the way that this works, because I'm going to explain this in such a simple way. Okay, that's it. Okay for part 1, and I shall see you in part 2 of Ye Are Gods. Namaste.